There I was, enjoying my first coffee since that sit down with Julie, when I just about shit myself. I felt a couple taps on my shoulder, and at first glance I thought it was one of Ela's, but I didn't recognize him. Not from the boat, anyways. Lachlan. Okay, he knew my name. Fine enough, and he requested that I come with him. Well, he knows my name. I don't recognize him, but I don't not recognize him, if that makes any sense. So, well, what was I gonna do? Boredom had already stricken me down, and I wasn't about to go and trail Smithy. It was his move in this game of chess, and I had to wait. So I got up and followed the stranger. Figured he would lead me to Amidio or Ela. I mean, they would be cryptic like this. But he didn't. We walked for maybe about 5-7 minutes down some streets, through some alleys. Felt like we went all over the place for no reason. Until I turned the corner to see James. He stood there holding the reins of a horse, only just obstructing my view of its face. Glad you decided to come, he smirked, holding the reins up my way. I should have known he'd want to throw me off guard, get me somewhere vulnerable, completely unprepared for a conversation. He nodded and nudged the reins my way again. I stepped carefully, taking in the horse behind him, a Missouri Foxtrotter, a good horse. Great, actually. No Mustang, though. She was gray and white, gorgeous to look at, had a beautiful blue eye. My face dropped when I realized what I was looking at, and James smiled, commenting an eye for an eye and a present for a present. He named her Julie. I had no words, and I didn't want to accept it. I tried to get him to take the reins back, but he refused. He joked about it being a gift and to accept the gift even if I don't like it, just as he accepted the jar. To be fair, he threw the jar across the room. I'm not about to toss a horse, nor could I even if I wanted to. But I'm also not about to hurt it. I messed up. I let him see the hint of my disgust, and I had to fix it. I apologized, stating that I was just surprised to receive a gift from him, especially after the other night. I figured he wouldn't want to see me again. He took a step closer to me. I inched backwards, thinking as he lifted his hand that he would grab my throat again, and instead, he smiled slightly, gently placing it under my chin. Narrowing his eyes, he studied my face again. I didn't want him to think that I was scared, especially not after my stumble backwards, so I stared him back down, narrowing my own eyes. His eyes are very dark in color. You'd almost think he didn't have an iris. You'd have to look closely into them to see where it ends and his pupil begins. He looks well rested, surprisingly. Maybe he just lucked out with being able to sleep no matter the situation that surrounds him. He has strong pointed features, similar to that of Reuben, yet they look nothing alike. His hair is long and dark, though he seems to keep it back in a small pony most of the time and off his face. He keeps a slight beard, just enough stubble to line his jaw and mouth, unkempt but not unruly. He's wearing much nicer clothes today. A simple gray vest over an even simpler white dress shirt looks newish. Did he buy new clothes just for this? He tapped gently on my nose, turning to walk away, yelling something in French to the man who brought me. He stopped, then pointed a finger in the air. Almost forgot. He turned back to face me. His smile made me uneasy as he said he'd pick me up around 8. And if I have plans, I replied. He just gave me a simple smile and shook his head, stating 8 p.m. sharp at the bar, tipping his head in goodbye and disappearing into an alley. Now I have a one-eyed horse and nowhere to put it, and I need to change her fucking name.